My name is Shelley Diamond. I'm the worldwide managing partner at Young and Rubicam, and I thank you for inviting me today. Last July, I traveled to Istanbul for Adele's Women's Summit, and I was fortunate enough to meet a group of women from Turkey. And these young women innately exhibited the exact traits that all women need to succeed in today's business environment. I mean, just being in Istanbul, it's alive, it's electric, and it just brings out the best in you, and it's a cultural blend. I was completely unprepared for what a special place it was and the people that I met there. I'm gonna tell you my story. I'm gonna talk about the challenges and the opportunities. I'm assuming most people here are probably either first generation or their parents were born certainly in another country. I'm first generation. My mother was born in Berlin, Germany, in a family, I come from an immigrant family. They were forced to flee Nazi Germany. My mother left as a teenager. She was lucky to get out. It was April of 1939. She made it out with her father and her brother, and her mother was killed, her grandparents, her aunts, her uncles. Most of the family was in Auschwitz, and actually only one of my uncles survived. So coming from a family like that and having a mother who didn't speak the language until she was a teenager, and then my grandfather had to rebuild his business. He came here truly with just the shirt on his back. She was pretty much left to fend for herself, growing up in, Hell's Kitchen in Manhattan. But you know what, now as a woman, so my mother died when I was 27, and I have such appreciation for what she did, and I always think, God, I didn't appreciate it. But actually, I am so much who I am. It's through osmosis. It just happens. You can't help yourself. So for her, college was out of the question. She clearly had the desire. She had the intellect, but she didn't have opportunity. So we talk about opportunity and challenge. To my mother, I was her opportunity. I'm the firstborn, my brother too, but it was really maybe because I'm a woman, maybe because my brother gave them so much trouble. They just expected me to just not give them trouble. You can't have all your children acting up at the same time. So I could accomplish all the things that she never could, only because she was born at the wrong time, in the wrong country, in the wrong religion, and quite frankly, the wrong gender. But despite her challenges, or maybe because of them, and actually my grandmother, we came from a generation of women that made you feel, and my father, I see men here in this, and I have to say, my greatest mentors, my biggest supporters are the men in my life. And my father, his attitude was, of course you can work. Of course you, I mean, it was not even a question, because he grew up here, but during the Depression. So I was at a speech that Thomas Friedman gave. And what he said, one of his advices was act like an immigrant. And I thought, that is so true. I mean, there's a, things aren't handed to you. You're forced to make your own way and on your own terms. And it is honestly amazing what you can do when you have to do it yourself. Being a pioneer has its benefit. And quite frankly, so does being underinformed. Like you talked about the school you went to. To you, that was the greatest school in the world. You didn't know, I didn't know, so you thought, hey, whatever I do, it's the best that I can do. I didn't think my gender was going to hold me back. I wasn't aware that women didn't run governments, or that there was, 200 CEOs and maybe 20 of them running Fortune 100 companies. I mean, I feel bad for you guys. You are so aware of the statistics. It's really great to not know anything. So I just say, wipe that all out of your mind. We have economic power in our hand. We spend money, and we control a lot of the spending decisions that are made in the household. I don't know about you, but I make the plans for Saturday night. I pick the restaurant, and my husband wears the same t-shirts that he buys at Costco. So he's not doing much for the economy. But like many of you in this room, I really took great pride in what I had accomplished being a first. Being a first to have a job, being a first to have a college education, being a first to have a vice president title. Of course, my grandmother told everyone that I was the president of Young and Rubicam, and then all my relatives started asking me for jobs. And when I couldn't, because there were only about 5,000 vice presidents, the rest of my family was angry at me. So it's also, ignorance has its issues. But from birth, I really knew I had to be financially independent. And I actually think that's a great thing too, because if you want it, you've got to make it. I grew up in a small apartment in Brooklyn, and by the way, Brooklyn is so cool now. When I grew up in Brooklyn and people said, "Where are you from?" You know, it's unbelievable. And we had, you know, one car, one bathroom. We had, you know, a very small apartment. My parents slept in a pull-out couch in the living room. And when I tell the story to my kids, they're like, "Oh yeah, Mike, I got it. You were really poor. Okay, let's get over it." But, you know, I had to work. I worked from the time I was 12. I worked through college. I had a full scholarship. My parents lived right near Brooklyn College. Their attitude was, "You don't need to go away to college." That was such a foreign concept. And they divorced at that point, and I thought, no, I'm going away. I'm going wherever they'll pay my tuition and the school that's furthest from my home. So I made a very educated decision about where to go to college. But I have to say, like anything else, if you're there and you put your all into it, you get unbelievable returns from the investment of time, energy, and passion. So I was nothing if not practical. So going to college, paying my tuition, and then when I graduated, I decided I wanted to be, you know, I wanted to be on TV. I wanted to be a news anchor, but that wasn't going to happen. So I picked an industry that sort of seemed similar, and it was a communication industry, and I got offered a job. And, you know, that's another thing about being first generation. A start is a start, you know? Maybe it wasn't the exact job I wanted. Maybe it wasn't exactly how much money I thought I should earn, but I knew I was getting a chance. And so I took that because I had this work ethic that had been instilled by my family and my circumstances. I heard a quote the other day, "Don't handicap your children by making their lives easy." And I really think that's true. That's certainly true in my life. So I began my professional journey, and I graduated with loans. I did it in 3 years, so I would have fewer loans. And, but I got really intoxicated by something called real-world accomplishment. People were appreciating me. The things that I sort of thought were almost a little odd in this industry of people who had generation of generation, they were everyone's son, cousin, nephew. It's a very nepotistic industry. Their fathers were CEOs of this company and that. And I was like the Jewish girl from Brooklyn. And I thought, okay, so play that card, play your game, because actually your perspective was completely different, and they appreciated it. So I continued to rise up the ladder, but you know, it's a young industry, and I was young, and then I got pregnant. And I was like, whoa, okay, now this is the true test of career, woman, balance, can I have it all? How can I find my life? Well, actually, I'm saying all this, but I didn't really think it through that much. I went to my HR manager and I said, my daughter's 28. So I said, what is our maternity leave policy? She goes, oh, we don't have one. And I said, well, how long can I take off? They said, well, how long do you want to take off? So again, there's something really valuable being a pioneer. And I said, let me get back to you. And there was a woman who had children, and she said, ask for 4 months. And they start sleeping after about 3. So I did. I asked for 4 months, and she said, well, it seems reasonable. And they paid me for 4 months. Of course, I had a second child, then I had a third child. And by my third child, it was 6 weeks, and like, where are you? But again, there is something great about being a pioneer. So moving on, I didn't feel that this was a choice. I loved having kids, I love my husband, I love having family, I love being busy, and I was really proud of what I had accomplished. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, how can I give all of this up? I mean, not just for myself, but for all the women and men in my family that were so proud of what I had accomplished. So I continued. I realized I was way better making money than making dinner, and I think my husband agreed with that, and he didn't really mind. So I think you mentioned this, having a spouse or a partner who's willing to really be your partner and help you and support you is absolutely critical. So I came back, and I continued working, and I continued raising a wonderful family and having a fulfilling marriage. And I have to say, it can be done. In fact, you can really create a wonderful, challenging, extremely balanced, unbalanced life for yourself. I can tell you I have 3 grown kids. And if they were here and you said, well, how did it feel to have a mom that worked full-time and I traveled? And I will tell you right now, they love it. They are so proud. They never, and I remember missing things that I wish that I had been at. And my husband would go in my place. They don't remember that. I have to tell you, I used to bring my son to work, and you know, boys are very competitive, and he'd walk the hallway and say, are you the boss of him, and him, and him, and him? It was like collecting baseball cards. And there was one guy in the corner office, and he said, are you the boss of him? I said, no, he's the boss. He goes, well, why aren't you his boss? And so I'm telling you, they love it, they appreciate it, and my daughters have careers. My son has a career, and I see the pride when they talk about what I have done, and when I remind them of the things I missed. My middle daughter likes to just remind me, but for the most part, it's me, not them. They feel that they have been lucky growing up in a family where their father is just amazing, and where they feel pride. And our life, we would not have the life we have. Sort of simple, you've probably heard it before, but I think I actually followed this advice. And it's around looking for the opportunity in every challenge. So one is be your own advocate, but also find an advocate. So women hate to ask for things. They wait. They wait to be recognized. They wait to get their raises. There was a survey that said 85% of women would rather have a root canal than ask for a raise. So we got to change that. And I actually think the women here, you've grown up at a different time, and I think you know how to do it in a good way. But finding advocates is equally important. You know, mentoring is, you know, I do a lot of it. It's very important to me. It's my passion. I mentor as part of Vital Voices women from developing countries every year. I have an organization that I'm part of called Women in America. I speak here. I'm happy to talk to anyone. But advocacy is different than mentorship. Advocacy is finding someone who's going to fight for you. And that person could be anyone. It could be your boss at the time. It could be a colleague. It could be, and it will change because it's completely dynamic. What's important to you when you're in your 20s is different than when you're in your 30s, different than when you're in your 40s. And the people who will be your advocates will change as well. So again, I know it's hard, but you have to do that. The other thing about advocacy and advocating for yourself is it's really uncomfortable. And if you think anybody else feels any more comfortable having those conversations, they don't. And I don't care if you are the CEO of a major corporation and you have to go to your board of directors. Women like to be liked. And they don't want to, right? And it's just sort of in your DNA. So that brings me to my second point. Believe in your value. I have value, and live your values. I have a colleague named John Gersma, and he just wrote a book called The Athena Doctrine. And you will all be very happy to know that his data says that 66% of adults, 63% of men, and 65% of women agree, and this is an 18-country survey, and I will get you the book, it's pretty unbelievable, that the world would be a better place if men thought more like women. And these are world leaders of countries that you would not expect to say this. And even more importantly, when I looked at the values associated with leadership in these 18 nations, some of them are actually highly correlated with the values that have been articulated by your organization. Curiosity, generosity, transparent, courageous. They aren't, some of those, 2 of those 4 are the exact words, and the other 2 are reflective of those sentiments. So it comes to you naturally. You're a group of women who have the power to change the world, one woman at a time, and it's organic, it's intrinsic, it's something that you can just be comfortable showing that side of yourself. You are making this world a better place, and it's got to be important to you, as it is important to me. Because unless you feel that fulfillment in the workplace, you're always going to question your decision. The third one is be passionate about what you do. I know that's hard to say, but I mentored someone from Miramar 2 years ago, and she said, and I'm going to quote her, "When you work for the money, you just work for money. But if you work for a passion, then you are working with all your heart." Now, every day you go to work, you're not going to be like, yeah, because there are days that it's hard to be passionate. But if in general, you can be passionate about some aspect of what you do, it will make all the difference in every decision you make, as you sort of make career decisions. Lean in. Now, there's this national discussion going on about, can you have it all? You can't have it all. Sheryl Sandberg, lean in, lean out. So, yeah, you should lean in at times, but you also should lean on. You don't have to do this by yourself. It's okay to ask someone for help. And this one's going to sound a little odd, and you have to sleep in. You need to take care of yourself. It's really important. You need to go to a spa, get a massage. You need to get your hair done. You need to just take a breath and say, I am not Superwoman, and I am going to take time for myself. Because it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So you need to pace yourself, and don't feel like you can't do that because, oh, I haven't seen my kids in a couple of days. You know what? They would rather be with you when you're not cranky. So put as much energy into yourself, of course your family, but it's not the same. It is just not a weakness to do things for yourself. This one I think is absolutely true of women. Perfection is the enemy. I was thinking about this and talking to some women. I mean, and you're probably all these high achievers, you're good in school, you studied hard, and I did sometimes. When I was on a scholarship, I did because I wasn't going to lose that money. But you know what? Sometimes 50% is good enough. You go home, your house is a little dirty, or you're not going to bake a cookie for, back to school night, or every day is not a perfect thing. Because if you hold yourself up to a level of perfection that you can't achieve, you will never exceed your own expectations. If you set expectations, do it by day. Today, I'm just going to get up and be cheerful. And you can, as long as you can achieve the expectations that you set, I think you'll feel much better about yourself in life and in business. And of course, finally, most definitely have goals. Set your goals, focus on them, achieve them, keep them in your hip pocket, refer to them. They shelter you from the storm. They're a destination. And they'll change as your life evolves. But it's sort of good to sort of know what you want your destination to be, if you can. And then I think that's, there's obviously, we can go on and on. But for me, I think those capture what I would say are sort of practical rules to sort of turn some challenges into opportunities. And this is specific to this room. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. Our life experiences make us who we are in life and in business. Embrace your uniqueness, your DNA, your unique perspective, and your history. I mean, you are women of a world of a blended culture like no other. You literally bridge Europe and Asia. You have a unique view of worlds that live together, yet remain so powerfully distinct. Use that as a differentiator. Make that part of your own personal brand. Again, women want to be liked. We feel sometimes lucky to have a job. But you know what? The job is very lucky to have you and to have your unique contribution and perspective. So walk out and give yourself a pat, make a facial appointment, and have some fun.